Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. It's Wednesday the 20th of January. Thanks for watching. Still in the grip of the cold spell. I think we should really use the term chilly though, shouldn't we, rather than cold. After all, it is just a normal hit of wintry weather. These were the minimum temperatures last night. Quite a widespread and I think legitimate to call it severe frost last night. You can see here temperatures widely fell below sort of -4s, -5s across central and southern parts of England on Tuesday night. Pretty cold across northern parts of Scotland as well. More cloud around elsewhere. So yeah, it was legit to call it a widespread severe frost last night. But again, spare a thought for our friends in Eastern Europe because really cold there last night. Scandinavia again down below -30 degrees in many areas. Now, this has implications because this block of cold air is very dense. It's sat at the surface. So anything coming up against it from the west is likely to rise over the top of it. And the effect of that is that it takes a lot of time to get that cold air out of the way. So this could have quite an impact on conditions during the coming weeks. Now the ECMWF today looking like this. These going forward in 24-hour steps. And you can see the cold air actually getting eaten away by the ridge that builds in here from off the Atlantic. Now remember what I've just said is that as that ridge builds in, we've got warmer air coming up here against the cold surface air across Scandinavia. It's going to take time for that to eat away at it. And this is in 7 days. Got a strong westerly coming in then. It will have kind of got through that cold air by then, but that has implications, the speed of the breakdown of that cold weather towards our east, because it could slow things down heading into the period after next week. Day 8 and day 9 showing the ridge there once again, and into day 10 hints of the ridge still there but trying to break through this more westerly flow coming off the Atlantic. I think while it's going to go milder, we're not completely out of the woods just yet. And certainly it's a confusing story coming in from the models. This is the CFS forecast for the next 45 days. I don't think it's got this one cracked at all. There's the rise in temperature during this week into early Feb. Then we see this kind of fall off, which is what we expected early February, but no signs of a real hit of any cold. It goes milder again and then comes in for a colder end of February into the early part of March, which is what, of course, we looked at yesterday. But you know what? I just don't think this one is one that we can trust just at the moment, because I think the models are just struggling so much. This is the forecast temperature anomaly for the next 7 days. So this is the way that things appear during the next 7 days. What a complete turnaround. Warmer than average temperatures across the UK, across much of western France and across Spain and Iberia. But you see this idea of this cold weather out towards the east and the delay in that getting eaten away. Now just compare this with this, because this is the last 7 days, and just look how cold it's been for the UK and for much of Central Europe. In fact, this is the temperature change anticipated over the next 7 days. So you see quite a big warm up in temperatures across much of Central and Western Europe on its way. I should say these charts from Carsten Housting, by the way. This is the last 30 days. So again, showing the mild weather across the UK, across Central and Western Europe, being pretty chilly Scandinavia and into the Baltic states and the far west of Russia though. And this is how things look for the rest of the month. So this is expected to be how temperatures end up by the end of the month. So for the whole of January, actually near to above normal across much of the UK and Ireland, below normal across Scotland, above normal for France and for Spain and Portugal, well below normal across eastern parts of Europe. But given what we've seen recently, actually that does come out as somewhat of a surprise if you think that we've just gone through a chillier spell. But generally, of course, you average temperatures out through January, they've stayed pretty mild. Still, all of that's very nice, but it doesn't help us out with the forecasting problem that's coming around the corner. This is the week 1 forecast from the CFS from the 19th to the 25th of January. Still got its higher than normal heights towards the north of the UK here, lower than normal out towards the west. There's the jet kind of breaking through here, trough here across the east of Europe, but it shows there the difficulty that the warmer air is having trying to break its way eastwards. It'll do it. Remember, this is the mean for the whole of the week. And then into week 2, showing still higher than normal heights off towards the east and in the Atlantic trough in between the two. So strong jet in here. We get the trough form down here. That's the southwesterly that picks up, that forms the ridge across the south and the east of the UK, bringing actually largely dry conditions across much of the UK, certainly in contrast to the beginning of the month, although maybe some wetter weather for Western Scotland and for Western Ireland as we get through this period. And I can sort of buy the story after that as well. This is week 3, going from the 2nd to the 8th of February, and it's showing us with a cooler flow across the north of the country, higher than normal heights down towards the south, and they're encouraging a southwesterly flow again, bringing mild conditions across the south, but hints of this colder westerly breaking through. Pretty similar to the way that we saw this break into the cooler conditions over the last week or so. So it's showing a similar sort of pattern. It's against what we'd thought, because we'd gone for a cold end to January and early February. That's not being stacked up at the moment by the CFS or for other models, in fact. And then into week 4 from the 9th until the 15th, again building this strong ridge out towards the east trough, towards the west. We're getting this sort of flow developing. Now that hints at something perhaps trying to see cold weather knocking on the door of the UK, and this is one, again, big question mark over it, but one I think we need to just be keeping an eye on. There's always the signs there into February of cooler weather coming through, but I think we're seeing such a massive impact now from the fall off of temperatures across the Pacific, and a change in temperature in the stratosphere, that the things very much are quite fluid right at the moment, but the signals are there for the cooler weather in February at some point. Now the Beijing model tries to show something similar. This is the 10-day forecast from the 21st of January through to the 30th of January. And what they're going for, in contrast to what we've just seen on the CFS, is the breakdown of the ridge and a stronger westerly becoming established. The jet really getting going once again. But the UK actually staying in mostly cooler conditions with low pressures, yes, tracking through the country, but generally keeping hold of the cooler air that gets in. Big ridge across the northern parts of the States into Canada. We got that sort of flow digging down into the Atlantic, which is strengthening the jet, although that strengthening of the jet is further south and further east than it was during December and the early part of January, so the wetter weather further away from the UK. Now into early February for the 10-day period from the 2nd of Feb, it does try to build heights in. It's tending then to keep the idea of the higher than normal heights west and east of us. Again, it's trying to get a flow of sorts going through the UK from the west or the southwest. Again, cooler weather, never that far away, but it certainly sees things as more mixed. And then right at the end of the month, it wants to do this. It wants to bring in more of a northwesterly, getting the high going in the Atlantic, getting a region here, trough down here, trying to get a northwesterly in and get some cooler conditions in with a risk of snow. So it's kind of there again on the Beijing model as it is on the CFS. Hints and signs of something there. It's just trying to pin down when that breaks through. Thursday, of course, is JMA Day, so we'll hopefully get more information then and more of an insight into how things are likely to develop. But I think for now what we need to do is just to look at the hints that the models are giving us. Probably try not to pin too much down in the detail, not to waver too much from where we are, but certainly to keep one eye to when a cold outbreak may occur during February. I'm still going middle of the month, but anyway, we shall see. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that for now. Don't forget, if you want detail for the next couple of days, check out Gary's Fast Forecast. But whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Keep the sun shining, and bye for now.